Welcome back to my channel. Today, an art journal tutorial that is packed with tried and true techniques. You're not going to want to miss this one, so grab a coffee, come on back, and let's get started. So I'm working in my 9 by 12 Canson Mixed Media art journal. I've taken it off the coil so I have one sheet at a time. I'm putting dioxazine purple and light blue permanent, and it is on a gessoed page, and that is so that I can remove the paint through the stencil. I'm applying a very white, wet layer. I've sprayed it with a little bit of water, mixing the paints right on the page, and then I place the stencil on top and using a baby wipe it out. And you get this lovely kind of reversed stencil effect. And I could have left it like that, but I was wanting to play and I was layering up. So I grabbed my turquoise paint and this Gentle Leaves stencil, and I'm adding and layering stencils. This pushes back whatever was before. That first stencil is a new one with the Crafters Workshop called Starflower Net. And this one is Gentle Leaves. It's one of the slimline stencils. I wanted to introduce more of that turquoise. I had too much purple, not enough blue. So this is the Starflower Net in the 6-inch. And I'm using the dioxazine purple here and just adding some darker areas. I like using the same stencil in 2 different sizes on a page. It just really makes it cohesive. This one's called Punch Card, and I'm stenciling again, layering, this time with white. Adding white to a page lightens and brightens the page, and as you can see, every stencil that I'm using, it's pushing back what was there and making for a very interesting background. Now I want to set off my focal image, and a very simple way to do that is to use circles. That just gives weight to them. It frames the focal image or gives the focal image something to set on. So I'm just using lids that I save from kitchen products and drawing with my white charcoal pencil, which I will be able to erase later on. Now I'm going to use the floating acrylic shading technique here on the inside of the circle and on the outside. Right now I'm using the dark dioxazine purple, and I'm erasing whichever circles I'm not. They're going to overlap. Now this is going to make these circles pop out from the background. And sometimes I will go over that a couple times and I'll build up the depth of the color. I'll put a link to the video where I teach this shading technique. It's a great one to get into your repertoire. Everything on this page is permanent, except for that white charcoal pencil, which I'll be able to erase. So I'm drawing in between, and there I'm going with the baby wipe, and I'm just getting rid of that white charcoal. And then I'm going to come back and do more shading on top to just make that pop even more. You could do this same technique with other shapes, whatever you choose. So now that that's set, I'm going to get my focal image. This stencil is called Dragonfly Collage, and I'm stenciling with black acrylic paint on one layer of the excess white napkin that you peel off when you're using the top layer of the napkin, and I save these. So now I'm stenciling on them. Now, you might ask, why would you stencil on this? Because I could stencil straight onto the background with black and it would be fine. By doing it on the white napkin, I'll be able to cut out these and then I'll be able to move them around and try out different compositions. I can also do this in one sitting, fold up the napkin once it's dry, and keep this in my stash. So then that saves time in future creating. So I'm using this stencil, this Dragonfly Collage stencil, and I'm doing some of the smaller ones. At this time, I'm not sure exactly how many of these dragonflies I want or which size, so I am doing both. I've got the black paint out, the makeup sponge is dirty, so once this is done, I can clean up once. So that's the advantage of doing this. You can also put modeling paste through the stencil onto the napkin and then have that at the ready. This is also a good thing if you don't do a great job of stenciling. So if it mucks up on the napkin, who cares? If it's on your page, then you have a mess to clean up. Right now I'm water cutting the napkin stenciled image. I'm just using a liner brush, adding a little bit of water, and just working my way around. I like to get as much of that excess napkin off as possible, so very little shows. And whatever there is napkin, that turns translucent when we glue it down. This is an upcoming sentiment pack, Wings and Things, and I picked the one, Let Your Dreams Be Your Wings. And now I'm auditioning my composition. Do I want it this way? Do I want it this way? Sometimes I stop, I take pictures, and then I look in the camera and I see which one do I like best. That helps me make ideas. So here I'm also using black and white. I've got a colorful, very busy background, lots of layers, and my focal image and my sentiment are black and white. And that's a really good technique to use when you have a colorful, busy background. Now I'm gluing these down with fluid matte medium. I'm putting a generous amount, and that helps the napkin go, the white parts of the napkin that you can still see, go all translucent. So then you're getting the color from whatever's in the background. Now I decided with this sentiment, I'm going to round the corners and see what I like about that. The harsh edges just looked a little funny with the circles. Then I decide I'm going to cut it apart. Remember, with sentiments, you don't have to use them as they are. You can resize them if they're digital sentiments. All my sentiments are resizable. You can shrink them or blow them up. And I have a video that shows you exactly how to do that. Here I cut them apart and then I'm going to layer them up. But we have those round edges that correspond to the things that are going on in the page. Now I'm edging the page, and again, I'm using that shading technique. And when you're starting with the shading technique, you may want to just edge like this because it's very forgiving and it's a good way of practicing. And then I'm adding a little bit of black on the outside of all those circles. I test the waters, I try it out, and I like it. I wanted those circles to stand out a little bit more. Now that I've got the whole thing together, sometimes you have to go back and tweak what you have or adjust it accordingly. I grab my white Posca pen and I start outlining sketchily the dragonfly. It wasn't quite dry, so I stopped the video and dried it because you don't want to use any outlining or doodling unless everything's completely dry. It's the best way to wreck your pens. This just helps the dragonflies stand out a little bit more. Just be sure not to put your hand in any Posca paint that's not completely dry. Then I decide I'm going to add dashes around the circles. I'm not sure that was necessary. I may have left that out if I was to do it again. Kind of looks like a dream catcher with that Starflower net stencil. I didn't heat up the tape on the top and I removed some of the paper, ripped it off. Just outlining with white. And this is bringing us to the end of the page. Pictures of the close-ups are here. Links and names of the products used are in the description box. Thanks so much for watching. Until next time, go get creative.